Y'all remember what we went through concerning the Mashiach and how straightforward he was. Why do you call me good? Call any pastor, any minister, any preacher, any leader, call them good. Call them good. Man, you're good. You did good. You call them good and watch them eat it up. Yahusha had a problem with this. You calling me good? He knew there's one. What do you mean I'm nothing to the Father?
No one is good but one.
So he said no one is good but one.
That is the Most High. But if you want to enter into life, keep the commandments.
Period. No long dissertation, no long history, no long nothing. Saying what Yahusha said in verse 17, this is what the Father told us in Torah. We read this over and over. This is what I told you is missing from the so-called New Testament. Keep the commandments. It was so hard for those men to say, keep the commandments. They're trying to figure out, should we get gooey, circumcised? They had a council. We went through that. Should we get gooey, circumcised? Let's not make them just tell them to abstain from, those things offered to idols, and don't drink any blood. Sexual immorality. Just refrain from these things. But we won't let them. We won't want to put no pressure on them and getting circumcised. That's not keeping the commandments. Family, I'm here to tell you, we must be stronger, wiser than the men in the New Testament. They were weak. They were weak. That's why they got scattered in the world around 70 AD. He said, you want to enter into life? He right back to Torah, keep the commandments. Before we finish this, you're going to hear the Father saying, keep my words. Be careful to observe everything that I command you.
He said to him, which ones?
Which ones? He going to act like he don't know which ones. See? You see? We got to be stronger than this, family. This is a man in the New Testament. We must be stronger than this. He tell you to keep the commandments. And you're going to tell him, which one? Which one? That's right, son. Shake your head. This is pitiful. Which one? The answer was supposed to be, that's the wrong answer. Keep the commandments. Which one? All of them. Let not one be undone. We leave many undone today. I see our people leaving many commandments undone, and they say we keep the commandments.
Yahusha said, you should not murder. You should not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness on your father and your mother, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. The young man said to him, all these things I have kept from my youth. What do I still lack?
So he knew. Yahusha knew the thing he kept. He called out the things he kept from his youth. And the man knew there's something he lacked. That's why he asked, what do I still lack?
Yahusha said to him, if you want to be perfect.
If you want to be perfect, and this is something that Abraham was perfect, Noah was perfect, these men, Shem, all these men that was perfect, in order to be perfect, you have to have a perfect Torah with it's pure, no added words, no words taken away. It must be pure, and you must understand it. If you can understand it, you have a pure word, you could be perfect.
If you want to be perfect, go, sell what you have and give to the poor, and you have treasure in heaven, and come follow me.
Sell what you have, give to the poor, sell everything, and give to the poor. See, our people ain't trying to do this. They're not trying to do this. See, we had to sell everything and move out of America. Doing the Father's will, sometimes you have to sell everything. Deuteronomy 24 and 16. So we're going over the fact. And this is the verse that I had up last week, and I didn't go into it. I left it up there and I didn't go into it. We'll go into it today because we've been told that Yahusha died for our iniquities. Deuteronomy 24 and 16.
Fathers shall not be put to death for their children.
Fathers shall not be put to death for their children.
Nor shall children be put to death for their fathers.
So the children can't be put to death for the fathers. The father can't be put to death for the children.
A person shall be put to death for his own iniquity.
So Yahusha can't die for my iniquity. We're done. Class over. This is finished. Yahusha can't die for my iniquities. If I commit iniquities, I must die. Class over. This is what we went over this. We discussed this. A person shall be put to death for his own iniquity. I can't commit iniquity and tell the father, okay, put this on my son. He's going to die for this. All the whole world committed iniquity, past, present, future, and all of it was put on Yahusha, and he died for all of us. Now we don't have to die. Y'all know what that means? That means none of us should be going to torment. That he died for all of us. Did he not say difficult is the way? This will be easy. He said difficult is the way. He was the head of the family, and he caused the whole family to be cursed. He caused that whole family to be cursed with what he did. He actually caused Yahusha to be cursed. Yep, the Babylonian garment. My daughter's asked me about the Babylonian garment. He hid the Babylonian garment under his tent, and his whole family was put to death because of that. But see, again, his family was in his hand. Yahusha was one. When he did that, the Most High wasn't with them, and then the enemies was slaughtering them, had them running. And they knew something was wrong. Iniquity in the camp. And so the way to get rid of the iniquity, to answer your question, because of him, the house was defiled. He brought the house. See, if he'd have went out and committed adultery, he'd have been put to death. Just him, not the rest of them. They didn't do anything. But since he brought this mess into the home, he cursed everybody in the home. That's why I tell you, you have to be careful who you go around. If they're cursed, you're going to be cursed. And we can't barak that which he cursed. That's why when we saw someone doing something the Father told them not to do, and now they need our help, we're afraid to help. 53. The last time. I stopped at verse 3 because this is what was pertaining to the lesson. But let's go to verse 4. We're going to continue.
Okay. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we esteem him stricken, smitten by Yahuah, and afflicted.
All right, so we have to understand before we go into this. My son and I, we spent some time digging. You can't just read in English. Sometimes you can't just go into the Arabia. You gotta go deeper than that. We went to the Blue Letter, and in the email, our brother went to the Blue Letter. That was great. But we had to go beyond that. He said there was nothing that I could see in the Blue Letter. He was right. There was nothing in the Blue Letter. We had to go deeper than that. We had to go to what they call the Great Isaiah Scroll. This was the original one. The Blue Letter is the Masoretic text, and we're going to show that. And so we had to go deeper. And when we went deeper, we saw things we didn't like. And this is where a lot of the problem comes from. So we're going to go through this. Surely, he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we esteem him stricken, smitten by the Most High, and afflicted. Again, his purpose. Why did he come? The reason he came, I did a video, the real reason why he came. He knew what was coming. He knew that we would be scattered. These things he knew. This is also an addition to what I know now to that video. This is an addition to. He knew we would be scattered. He knew all of these things. And so he had to come and fix what was broken. Something was wrong, terribly, horribly wrong. He's not the first to do it. He will be the last to do it. Because see, he got to come back and fix it again. Ain't that something? He fixed it. And he did some things for us. He did some things for us. The Most High made it sure scripture was hidden in the Qumran cave. He made sure we had some scripture that we can look back on without any men touching it. And that's what we have to go back to a lot of times. We have to go back to that text. And when we went back, we see some things missing. But he bore our griefs. We were wicked. We killed him. He died because of the wickedness of man. If man was righteous, they wouldn't have never killed him. If the men were righteous, they would have never killed him. Now I have a question. Read verse 5 before I ask this question.
Okay. But he was wounded for our transgressions.
It's saying he was wounded for our transgression, for what we did.
He was bruised for our iniquities.
He was bruised, or you look in the Aubrey, it says crushed for our iniquities. We did it. Let me tell you something. You got wicked men going against righteous men, and they're killing innocent people because of their wickedness. So he was bruised because of our iniquities. You bruising an innocent person?
The chastisement for our shalom was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed.
The chastisement of our peace was upon him. So what are we discussing here? He came to bring us peace. He came to make sure we had peace. It was on his shoulder. When he sent Moshe to deliver Yahusha out of Egypt, the people's shalom was upon Moshe. It was upon him. And he had to bear their iniquities. He bared it. All their mess, he had to bear their iniquities. To the point they had him so hot, so angry, he did something the Father told him not to do. He told him to do one thing, he did another. He told him to speak to the rock, he struck the rock. He was angry. He was upset. The people was on his nerve. But there was a heavy burden placed upon Moshe. And he was carrying it. What did his father-in-law tell him? What did he tell him?
This burden carries too much.
You can't, this burden is too much. And he told him how to make his load lighter. He was carrying the burdens, the transgression of the people. And they were ready to kill him. They were ready to stone him. We read it in Torah.
Many times.
Many times. They were ready to stone him and Aaron. You see, this what the wicked will do this to the righteous. And the wicked will say, we are righteous and you are evil. You are wicked. Remember, they said, you call yourself the son of the Most High? That's blasphemy. Stone him. Kill him. This little old man, this little short, funny looking man, you're the king of Yahusha, not you. So all of this was placed on Yahusha. He come here to get us back on track with Torah. They had no one to get them on track with Torah. The Torah that they had wasn't even the Torah they're supposed to have. And then he had to go to the cave and make sure we get what little Torah we have today. He did all that for us. And then Christianity tell us he died for our iniquity. Some of the camps tell us he died for our iniquities. He died that we may live. Continue.